let's jump into this and talk about candidate policies and the agenda of each of the candidates. All right. It's very important to know how a Trump and Biden administration would impact multiple facets of the economy, which then in turn would drive the market, all right, and prosperity for the average everyday American citizen. That this is important. At the end of the day, we are trading markets, but the impact each one would have is interesting and needs to be observed individually. All right. So here's the platforms they're running on key issues. So on the taxes front, Donald Trump is looking to extend the 2017 tax cuts of his platform. All right. Biden's looking to increase taxes on corporate income, high earners, and on capital gains. So it's going to be an increased tax cost for higher earners. All right. And there's even talk of a 4% tax on trading from Kamala Harris. And so, Biden is for sure the candidate with the higher tax implications. All right. On regulation, Donald Trump wants to reduce regulation on energy and financial services. So this is good for energy companies in exploration and also financial service companies, banks. They'll have conditions that are more accommodative for their businesses, where Joe Biden would look to heighten regulation on energy, technology, and financial services. All right. And so these are key differentiation points. And as we go down, we're going to get less and less differentiation. And you'll see as we get to the end, there's actually some similar policy approaches as well between Biden and Trump. All right. In terms of energy and the environment, Donald Trump looks to increase energy production. Biden's looking to reduce emissions and increase energy efficiency. All right. So that would favor companies that are in the alternative energy businesses. In terms of foreign policy, this is a widely different angle. I mean, they're both China hawks, meaning that they're going to put pressure on China. But Donald Trump will go with an America first policy. Will take foreign policy decisions that benefit America. Whereas Joe Biden, it's not like he doesn't want to benefit America. He's running for the president of the United States, but he's going to have more of a renewed emphasis on alliances with other countries. All right, more trade, more alignment with other country policies, with the European Union. All right, and I mean, both of them, as you'll see, are hawks on China. So the tough stance on China won't change for the most part. On healthcare, Donald Trump looks to undo the Affordable Care Act, the ACA. This was one thing he mentioned he would do on day one of his first term, and he did not. I mean, this is something that would carry forward as an attempt in the second term if he was to be reelected, where Joe Biden is going to look to protect and build on the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. All right. In terms of labor, Donald Trump will keep minimum wage as is, where Biden looks to put the minimum wage to $15 an hour, right, and regulate gig economies, which would be really bad for gig sharing companies. And that would be a negative outlook. And so you're starting to kind of understand which sectors will be impacted how by either candidate for the long term. None of this is relevant for the day trading, and we're going to talk about that in a second. All right, on infrastructure, both parties are looking to spend big to create and improve infrastructure, which will create a lot of jobs. All right, but on things like prescription drugs, China policy, and the federal budget, they're both looking to reduce costs on prescription drugs. They're both going to be tough on China. I think Donald Trump would probably be tougher on China. I think, for the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, they're hoping that Biden wins, because no matter how tough Biden is on China, I think Trump will take the more aggressive approach. All right. And I think it would happen right off the bat. In terms of the federal budget, they're both going to run huge budget deficits. They're going to have to print more money. All right. And so, as you can see, even though there's a lot of disparity and division in politics at the moment, there are a lot of key policy issues that will probably be handled in a pretty similar fashion. There are more they disagree on than they do agree on, but now you understand who favors what. And I think this is important going into an election because it's going to impact the market. All right. In terms of fiscal implications, the high cost for Trump would be 6.8 trillion. That's the projections. 8.3 under Joe Biden. All right. The low cost projections are flat, more or less. I mean, what's $0.7 billion these days? 0.7 trillion. What's $700 billion? The Fed will monetize that overnight. And the central figures are 560, 5.6 trillion, and 495 trillion by Trump versus Biden. And, it's all going to come at a cost. And this is going to be very, very interesting. And Michael D, I agree. He said it would be nice to talk about these things during the election. Or the debates. I don't think last debate we heard any of this. And to the American citizen, I'm Canadian. And if I was an American citizen, this is what I would be interested in. Thursday debate will be a lot more productive. They're going to mute the mics during the 2 minutes. I'm going to interrupted time, and then open mic, probably be a little bit back and forth again. And I think everyone hopes to see a little bit more of a productive discussion, because this is the last opportunity for them to debate before the election. This is big. This is very important. And so this is where we're at. All right. So in terms of fiscal implications, it's going to cost a lot of money. Here's the debt under current law, Donald Trump and Biden agendas. So under the current law, you could see that the black line here is what the debt to GDP is as a percentage. All right. So under current law, we're above the 100 marker. It's expected to grow to 2030 at 109. However, it costs increasingly more money to prop up an asset like the stock market that's rallied quite a ton. You lose efficiency. The next dollar is going to get you less results. All right. And so it's going to cost more money. And on the wide range, we could get to, by 2030, 130% of debt to GDP. Now, it sounds high, all right, but countries like Japan are able to run at these rates for decades. So this in itself isn't really like an oh my god type of chart for today or tomorrow, but it is for Isaiah and for our future generation. We are leaving a lot of debt for the next generation, and at some point, there's gonna have to be some answers. All right. But I don't think in the short term this matters. But you have to understand that all of this extra growth, all of this asset inflation is coming at the cost of debt down the road. All right. Romana, very true. Uh, undecided kindergartners probably chose a party. Too bad they can't vote. Here's some election scenarios that could happen. All right. And what you got to look at is the swing states in terms of the polls. The overall numbers, you have the blue wall, the red wall, right? Like there's Republican and Democratic states. The ones that are going to really decide the election are these 6. All right. Arizona, Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. When you look at the polling average and then the latest polls, Donald Trump is gaining ground in states like Florida and North Carolina. All right. In fact, Donald Trump, on the averages, in comparison to the latest polls, was lagging in North Carolina, has now tied it with Joe Biden. So the latest polls are coming in that Donald Trump is picking up some ground in the swing states. And this is what I think is going to make the volatility pretty high on the day of, right? And what I think is going to lead to the most likely outcome, which I'll share with you in a moment. All right. When you look at the top battlegrounds in a plot, like in a chart, you could see the Biden lately has been losing some ground. Donald Trump has been picking up some ground in the polls. But this is what you got to realize about polls. All right. In 2016, Hillary Clinton had a 92% expectation to win the election on October 18th of 2016, and Trump only had an 8% chance. All right. So what I'm here to tell you is no matter what poll numbers are, it doesn't matter. It's just a projection. I think this election, more than ever, less people will give their information to the poll. Less people will want to even participate in polls. Right? It's become a divided type of thing, and it's not just the US. I think as a world we're becoming divided. And so when you look at these polls, it's just a poll. All right, just remember that. None of that really matters. Okay, none of this stuff is going to matter once the results are in. It could be, it's close enough. All right, in 2016, it was a huge upset that Trump won in comparison to the polls. This year, polls are closer, they're tighter. And, the difference maker is going to be the mail-in ballot. I was reading that 25% of the votes in 2016, so a large percentage of votes, have been cast in a mail-in ballot this year. This will probably be the highest mail-in ballot polling in the history of polls. It'll be interesting to see. A large number of people have pre-voted and have mail-in voted already. So the question is this, On the night of, will we know the result? I think what we're going to be doing in the trading room, I'll tell you about that in a minute, but what's going to be important is these swing states, all right, and how the numbers come in. I really don't think that there is an actual result, and we'll talk about that in a second on the night of, but that doesn't mean there won't be volatility, okay? Professional traders will be hedging as the risk and the likelihood of either party winning takes place. So here's the macro implications on a wide scale. So there's two things that are important, the president and the Senate. So if you get a Biden win with a Democratic Senate, they can pretty much pass any law they want. That'll be a huge shift to the current structure. It's completely the polar opposite. There will be more fiscal stimulus. There will be an elevation of building of infrastructure. All right, there will be higher taxes, and it's going to be paid for by more printing of money. If Biden wins with a Republican Senate, then who knows what's going to happen with fiscal stimulus? There might be none. There may not be. It could be the status quo of what's going on at the moment. And I think, I read the Onion News that Nancy Pelosi and Secretary Mnuchin agree on a new deal, and now every American voter has to mail in a $1,200 check to the government. And it was funny, but that's the whole point, is that it's getting a little bit ridiculous, even with today, the back and forth. All right, I think under a Biden win with the Republican Senate, we get a deflationary period, which is not good for debt. Debt becomes more expensive, and we could get market selling. I think this is the scenario in which we see probably the biggest downside in the stock market. If you get a Trump win with the Democratic Senate, you're probably going to get less fiscal stimulus, if any, and we're going to hit a period of stagnation. All right, sideways markets, these gains that have been happening will probably wind down, and we're going to just have deadlock until the next election cycle. And so the most kind of bullish for the stock market, if you will, would be a Trump win under a Republican Senate, because then you will get stimulus, less than a Biden win with a Democratic Senate, but it would lead to an expansion in the stock market, and I'll support that in a second. All right, there's one thing for sure. Do you guys know what that is? No matter what happens, Tuesday, November the 3rd, and then following up to that when they count the ballots, this guy is going to be making it rain for the next 4 years. He won't actually for the next 4 years if he is reelected, but the money press is going to keep going.
Hello, and thank you for watching this video. I want to take a moment to invite you to an exclusive online trading masterclass. In this event, you're going to learn 3 key things to help take your trading to the next level. Number 1, we're going to teach you a complete price action strategy used by professional traders on a daily basis, plus give you the checklist so you know how to check off each step to qualify the opportunities. Number 2, we're going to teach you how to use advanced order flow analytics to help you qualify high probability, low risk trade setups on a daily basis. Plus, we're going to teach you how to use that order flow to disqualify the trades that you're used to taking that end up being stopped out. Number 3, we're going to show you how you can apply all of this information with a small account, because you can start small and scale up. In fact, that's the only way to start, and a lot of our traders are doing it in our community on a daily basis. This is an exclusive offer you can get online only at this event. I look forward to seeing you at this masterclass and teaching you these 3 secrets of highly profitable day trading. Take care and have a great day.